Welcome everybody. For those who don't know, my name is Hunter. I'm the community manager over here at Off-Chain Labs, building Arbitrum. And we are gathered here today to talk about very, very exciting news about our recent acquisition of Prismatic Labs, the genies behind the most popular Ethereum consensus client, Prism. We are joined today by the co-founders of Off-Chain Labs, of course, Stephen Goldfeder, Harry Clodner, and Ed Felton, alongside the co-founders of Prismatic Labs, Preston Van Loon and Raul Jordan. If you guys have any questions, by the way, throughout the spaces, stick around till the end. We'll be taking questions, so you can obviously either leave them in the AMA chat or go ahead and request to speak again at the end. But with that being said, I'll let Stephen, our CEO, take it away.
Hey everyone, yeah, really great to be here. Thanks, Hunter, for that intro. I'll be brief. I just want to say that I could not be more excited for today's news. It's been a long time coming internally, and we are just waiting to the day where we can announce this publicly. Preston and Raul have built a really fantastic team, and over the past several months, we've got a chance to know both them as well as Terrence, Nishant, and the others on their team, and uh, through and through, a really fantastic team that has an incredible reputation and is wholeheartedly deserves that reputation, and definitely one of the most accomplished teams in the entire space. And we're super excited to be working alongside them, working together with them. And it's interesting because we complement each other in so many ways. We fill gaps in each other's knowledge. We have our Arbitrum team obviously has a ton of experience in layer 2 development, and the Prismatic team has a ton of experience in layer 1 development. And we're really good complements to one another. But more starkly, I'd say that something that emerged through the conversation was all that we shared in common, and so all the similarities that we had. And from the simple things like our excitement about sitting in a room and nerding out on a whiteboard. There were lots of those sessions. Thanks, Ed, for leading at the whiteboard many times. But also our values and the desire that we have to scale Ethereum while keeping it true to its core tenets of decentralization and security, and working together towards that goal. Remember, Ethereum's roadmap is roll-up centric, and which means that there's a lot of alignment and a lot of priority points that we can align on between layer 1 and layer 2 teams. And you need to look no further than some of the biggest Ethereum development activities that are going on now around data sharding, EIP 4844, to see the close synergies between layer 1 and layer 2. For those that don't know, these are proposals and things that are actively being worked on to things that will happen on Ethereum layer 1 that will make it cheaper and easier to use layer 2. And there's a ton of synergy between these teams. And I think having both of our teams in one roof will be incredibly helpful and allow us to think together and solve these problems together, and ultimately come up with better solutions and stronger solutions and really scale Ethereum to the maximum of its potential. That being said, I want to just stress that Prism, the client, will remain neutral and really not change at all. Prism development will continue. We're committed. The Prismatic team is committed to continuing developing Prism exactly as it was before. So you'll just see continued development there. It'll be staffed, it'll be resourced, and that won't change at all. But the teams, of course, will come together, and there are a lot of synergies that will emerge from this collaboration that will be very powerful, both for us as a team, or us as two teams that are now joining to one, but really the community as a whole. So in sum, I couldn't be more excited to be here today, celebrating our merge, taking one of the best technical teams in crypto, and bringing them together. Or to say, taking two of the best technical teams in crypto and bringing them together. We're excited to be working alongside the Prismatic team, and it's really a humbling moment for us to have these amazing and talented engineers working with us. It's an exciting day for us, for both of our teams, really, and it's an exciting day for Ethereum. And it's these sorts of collaborations that will make Ethereum stronger. And together, us as a joint team and us as a community have a lot to look forward to. And I'm very excited for what the future will bring and what we will be able to accomplish together.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
I was literally about to say the same thing. Thank you, Harry. Maybe Ed, Harry, if you want, maybe you can give in your own thoughts as well, and maybe we can kick it off to the Prismatic folks afterwards.
Yeah, let me just jump in here. As Stephen said, there's a lot in common between the Arbitrum team, the Prismatic team, and that really emerged as we've talked to them over the months while this was all being arranged and worked out. As Stephen said, they have the same kind of problem-solving mentality that we have. Love to stand up and talk about alternatives, figure out, what is best, and then crucially also deliver it to end users and to the community. I think that is in our DNA as a team. That's in their DNA as a team. I think we have a very similar outlooks toward how we develop and build technology and the community around it, right? Focusing on sustainability, focusing on making careful decisions, and being in it to build something that's really going to last. And so, not only from the standpoint of what they do and who they are, but also just how they work and how we work is such a great fit. I'm really excited to have them on board and to be joining up with them and learning from them what they know.
I think Ed and Stephen, I think, have already said a lot, and I'll say for context, I am 2 days into to DevCon and already I've been doing a lot of talking, so you might be able to hear I'm already even a little hoarse. But I think it's just a plug for like how kind of wild and monumental the timing is of sort of this coinciding with DevCon, and just sort of the fact that it's been really cool to experience kind of the energy and reaction on the ground, with sort of all the level of kind of just like wonder and excitement that like I myself have felt periodically as I like look in the mirror and say, is this real? This is amazing. So super excited to be talking about it and to have it really be here.
Great. Yeah, Preston, Raul, would love to hear your perspective of this, the Merge 2.0, we're calling it.
They're both true respectful, Hunter. You got to call him one of them.
I was just gonna say, yeah. Okay, Raul unmuted, so you're going.
Oh, good. No, just humbled by all the all the great things that have been said, and I just want to say, hello everyone. My name is Raul Jordan, and for those that are a little bit unfamiliar with us, we, Preston and I, we started working on Ethereum around 4 or 5 years ago, when we really wanted to just scale Ethereum. We wanted to get involved and solve some of the challenges that are talked about endlessly. Back during that time, Vitalik kept talking about proof of stake that needs to happen. Somebody needs to do it. And Preston and I started asking questions like, who's building this stuff, right? And we found a lot of contradictory answers, and decided that why don't we just take it upon our own hands to actually build and ship this to the community. We came from an outsider's perspective of people, we were software engineers previously, and try to bring in really great industry standards into making this happen. And it was a very challenging endeavor, but this past month we shipped proof of stake to Ethereum mainnet, and was an incredibly smooth event, which was just a fantastic achievement for us, for all the time that we've been working together on this. And from here, we built a team that is very forward looking about Ethereum, discovering what Offchain has been doing and how they've been also just relentlessly shipping both Arbitrum 1 and Nitro within exactly 1 year of each other. Just made us very inspired by this team and what we could do together. It has been just a true pleasure getting to know the Arbitrum community, beyond just the Arbitrum team as well. And we're here to join forces and make this project way stronger, the sum of its parts. So I just want to say thank you to everyone, and we will we'll be here to show you guys what we can do for L2, and we're going to build great things together over the coming months. So passing it over to Preston here.
Well said, Raul. Raul and I have been friends, met on the internet for almost 5 years now, and we came together with a common interest. We said Ethereum is this really great technology, but it's falling short in a couple areas, and the main one being scaling. Even just in the first few years of Ethereum, we were seeing transaction fees be at all-time highs, and things were just already getting unsustainable with exciting applications like CryptoKitties and people launching their own tokens, and so we said, wow, this is really powerful technology. How can we get involved? And scaling being the biggest, hardest problem we could find, we said this is a chance for us to have an impact, a positive impact on Ethereum and the Ethereum community. And so we just started doing it because Ethereum is a group of doers, a group of builders, a group of people who come from nowhere and don't know anybody, and there's no barrier to entry here. We came out of nowhere and just said, let's just build on Ethereum and build it for Ethereum and make it a thing that we can all use. And in the last 4.5 years or 5 years, we've achieved a lot. We finally delivered a proof of stake. It's been a long time coming, and all the while we've set ourselves to this extremely high standard. We said, not only do we find ourselves in this really unique position of privilege that we get to build on this exciting technology, but we also have an opportunity to set an example. And we found a lot of parallels with that mentality with Off-Chain Labs and the way they built Arbitrum. We found that they also hold themselves to a high standard, and that they won't settle for anything less than the best. When it comes to client development, we have a lot to learn from each other, and we think that the future of Ethereum isn't scaling as it is through layer 2. There's a lot of really exciting work to do, and we are just so thrilled to be able to join forces and help make Ethereum a thing and scale and be a product, a service, a thing for everybody. So we're super excited to be here.
Awesome. Yeah. I think maybe it also help to, I'm sure those in the Prismatic community, who are currently running their own, Prism clients, have their own questions, looking more of a technical perspective. I know Stephen mentioned earlier that, there obviously is no plans on slowing down in terms of making sure that the Prism client is available to everybody and anybody. But maybe could you talk a little more about that, Preston? In terms of for those who are currently running a Prism client, what's the status of that, and will that change in the future?
Yeah, so we're, as we were saying, we're still very committed to our transparent development and our core values that we have at Prismatic Labs, developing the software that builds out Ethereum to be a credible. So for the foreseeable future and beyond, nothing really changes in that regard. We're still committed to delivering best software, community, and making sure things keep going with the core protocol development. For Prism users, there's not much will be changing. We're still the same community. We're still the same team building out Prism and delivering excellent software.
Awesome. Yeah, great to hear. So I think with that, very short kind of preamble there, we can definitely start opening it up to a Q&A. Actually, before I even do, we should actually give a very quick shout out to DevCon, since all of us are here actually for the most part. And if you want, you can actually go ahead and check out our booth. And obviously, both of our teams are actually giving talks as well. So definitely shout out to those running DevCon for that as well. But yeah, if you have any questions you want to ask us, feel free to raise your hand, or even actually put something in the AMA chat, and we'll go ahead and choose from there. Oh, and make sure to come by the booth, since a lot of us will be there, including myself.
I think there was a little time earlier today when there were something like 10 people behind us, all squeezed behind the tiny little booth. It was pretty great.
Okay, I think we're adding on someone over here, Crypto Crad. Mr. Crad, hello. It's possible you may have requested a little earlier on. You're just waiting to be picked up. Maybe we can put him back. And there he goes. I think one thing we can actually maybe even speak about while we're waiting for. Oh, here we go. I'll ask later. Adding on a Mycelium, one of our favorite Arbitrum native projects. All right, Mycelium, you're up. Oh, all right. Then we have Eric coming up. And if not, then I'll ask my question afterwards, just in case.
Hello?
You are good to go, Eric. How's it going?
Hey, how you doing, guys? Just excited about. Hello, can you hear me?
You're good. Yeah, go for it.
All right, so
Yep.
basically, I just wanted to ask, basically, if there's any updates on the Odyssey. I know it brought a lot of adoption to Arbitrum, and just want to see if there's anything going on that. I knew it would be released after the upgrade, and I just thought it was good for projects to entice people to join Arbitrum, and I feel like a lot of people stayed at Arbitrum. So I just wanted to see if there's any updates on that and what's going to happen with that moving forward.
Hey, thanks for your question. Yes, there we have, as you can tell, we have a lot going on, and some exciting announcements that we don't want to topple over each other. So the Odyssey will resume shortly, and we will be putting out announcements around that. But besides for the Odyssey, we also have some other exciting announcements coming in the upcoming weeks and beyond. But definitely stay tuned for the resumption of the Odyssey announcement, which will be forthcoming shortly. And while we're at it, I'll take a second to also, um, something you said to hone in on something you said about coming here and staying around. That's really like the core point of the Odyssey. Hopefully, the Odyssey will be useful for people to explore the ecosystem, but once they're there, stay around. We've heard from a bunch of users that said, "Hey, I tried GMX in that first week of the Odyssey, and I haven't stopped using it." So that's super exciting for us, and hopefully, you'll have an opportunity to experience other protocols and lots of protocols and see all that Arbitrum has to offer for the Odyssey. So we are as excited about you. Thank you for your question and your excitement, and that will. You have our word that will restart shortly.
Cool. And then thank you. I have a follow-up question to that. So I know when the Odyssey happened, we haven't had this big upgrade. So there are a lot of wallets joining, some for purposes that might have not been as noble as others, maybe for, trying to farm some things. So I was want to see if there's any, going forward, any updates on that where this incentivize people, I guess, farming the Odyssey. I don't know if it has anything to do with the potential airdrop coming up or anything like that. I just wanted to see if you guys have noticed that and what your takes are on that.
The purpose of the Odyssey is an educational one. There's obviously a fun incentive, which is the NFTs that we are the Ratwell NFTs that people are getting for their participation in the Odyssey. So there is that incentive, which we're explicit about. But other than that, users should not really users should not be participating in the Odyssey expecting anything else. The Odyssey is about exploring the ecosystem, a fun environment to explore and learn, and hopefully stay around. So yeah, there are a lot of there may be others that have other ideas, but that's what the Odyssey is about to us.
Perfect, thank you. And if you don't mind, I have one more question about sequencers. I like Arbitrum. It seems to be, very superior to any other competitors available at the moment. It's a great user interface of all the applications there. And the only thing that, concerns me sometimes is developments on the sequencers. I know this new partnership will be able to help to move that forward. I was just hoping you guys could explain what this partnership means, perhaps to bringing more decentralized sequencers to Arbitrum and kind of a roadmap of what that will look like in the future.
So one of the really interesting things about the Arbitrum sequencer is, and actually Lee, who is on, I saw in the listening, I see him here. It's Lee Plasma Power on Twitter, put out a really good thread last week on some of how Arbitrum compares to some other systems. And one thing actually, which is a really interesting point, and it came up a few times there, is a sequencer is designed to be really minimally trusted. So even today, for example, we don't trust the sequencer to tell us the gas prices on Ethereum layer 1. Our system is designed to give the sequencer relatively minimal trust. And I think, at least based on what I've seen, Arbitrum is relatively unique in this way, in the sense of the minimal trust that we put in our sequencer. And that's true even today. So when people talk about decentralized sequencer, when we talk about decentralizing the sequencer, what we're referring to is the ability for the sequencer to reorder transactions. And that's something which we are working on, decentralizing the sequencer to get guarantees around that. But I think it's important to stress, and I'm not sure if this is true for every rollup, but it's definitely true for Arbitrum, that the sequencer by design, obviously the rollups in beta today, but the sequencer by design doesn't have the ability to push bad state or to really take user funds or do anything like that. The sequencer is already minimally trusted. The sequencer doesn't even have the power to tell us what the price is of gas on Ethereum because, hey, if the sequencer is malicious, it could say the price is higher and then cause users to pay a lot more money. So we really designed the system with the sequencer to be minimally trusted. Yes, we will decentralize the sequencer, and there's work to be done there. We talk about it a lot. But I think keeping the scope of the problem in mind is helpful there for sure.
Thank you. Appreciate the answer.
My pleasure.
Thank you for coming up, Eric. All right, bam. Adding on Mycelium again. Let's see. Fingers crossed for the second time around. All right, you're good to go. Let me try muting yourself. Whoever's on that Mycelium account. I'm not sure if maybe there's like a microphone mix up on your part, but we can't hear you. Oh, and there we go. We'll wait for any more questions to come up. Again, just so you guys know, you can feel free to either raise your hand and I'll bring you up, or you can go ahead and leave some comments in the live chat, which is on the bottom right hand of the screen if you're on mobile. All right, we have MD Imran. MD, what do you got for us? And there he went. We'll give it another minute or so, just in case. Oh, there we go. Wealthy LLC, you're on. If not, I'll bring up Broom here. Now we're getting like a bunch of a bunch of requests all at once.
Hello.
You're good, Broom.
Hey,
How's it
how's it
going?
going? I'm just wanting to say hi and appreciate you guys' work on Nitro and all that other stuff. And congratulations on the merge. I'm not sure what it means. That was one of my questions. I've been working with Arbitrum since Smalls, a Treasure DAO, and I've been using it much to our delight. And especially in Realmverse, we do multiple transactions, and it's been really awesome to have this platform to use and all that. My first question is, going back to the beginning, is the Pry Labs, the team behind Ethereum's leading consensus client. What does that mean exactly?
Excellent question. Thank you for coming up. Yeah, so when you run a node on Ethereum today, a lot of folks are familiar with Go Ethereum, which is kind of the software that you use to power the actual blockchain, right? It's like the thing that produces, like in the past would be used for producing blocks and basically running the actual system. So Ethereum is just a bunch of computers running this software, in in either big warehouses of miners or in people's homes. Last month, Ethereum switched to proof of stake, so it's the software changed quite a bit, and we maintain the currently the most popular software implementation that runs the Ethereum proof of stake consensus algorithm. So when you're running, Ethereum is running with our software. That helps people act as validators in the network for proof of stake. So instead of being a miner today and basically having a giant mining rig or GPUs, you can run our software, you can stake your Ether, and you can run the Ethereum blockchain. So we work very closely on the underlying tech behind Ethereum itself, and that's kind of the software that we maintain. The Arbitrum folks here, they work very closely on the scaling side of Ethereum, so they work on the software that enables layer 2 fast transactions, cheap transactions. So kind of these two complementary pieces of expertise together, we think can allow us to do some even greater things.
Okay, great. Thanks. Sounds sounds bullish to me. I appreciate the explanation, and once again, us from Treasure DAO are super excited to be here on Arbitrum, especially at Nitro. Thanks, Hunter, for all your work, and thanks, and appreciate you guys. Bye.
That was nice. Bringing up Aliyu. Actually, have a couple of requests now, so a little bit of a line. Aliyu, what do you got for us?
Hello and good evening, good day, everyone. My question here is that will there be other important updates for the community before the announcement of Odyssey resumption? And secondly, is the Nitro upgrade capable of containing the participant for Odyssey when it resumes?
I'll take those. So, I think your first question was whether we give an announcement warning before um, the update went live, and the answer the other night the Odyssey answer is yes, we absolutely will. And the second one, will the Nitro upgrade be able to help with the capacity? And the answer is we now have about 7x capacity as we did before. So we're feeling pretty good about the capacity of our chain, and we have lots of other really great upgrades that are coming as well. But yes, we are feeling we have increased our capacity by 7x as it was pre-Nitro, and we're very excited about that.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. At least 7x, I should say, probably actually more.
Awesome. Bringing up fellow Blueberry. David, what do you got for us? Just in case I'm adding a squelch on as well. I think David may be AFK. Squelch, go for it.
Hey guys, Billy from the Mycelium team. Just wanted to offer a big congratulations on the acquisition. Really massive supporters of Arbitrum's vision and big believers in the ecosystem. It's just good to see that Prismatic Labs was acquired by a crypto native team, rather than someone like Google or Facebook. Excuse the dog in the background, coughing up something. But just wanted to offer a big congratulations on behalf of our team, and excited to see what it brings to all the other projects that are building with you guys.
Yeah, thank you for that. And the one thing I'll say is, from my experience and my experience, this was our first time doing this, but only because you mentioned like Google or Facebook. So it's a two-way street. The Prismatic Labs team is a fantastic team, and it's not exactly a team that was sort of needed to be pulled out. So they were also very particular about who they would work with, and they could let them talk about that themselves. But it was really a marriage where we were both going in very strongly and felt that we really wanted to work with one another. So I think we chose them and they chose us is something which is important to focus on, and we're both very excited to work together and both aligned. But thank you for your very kind words, and thanks for all the work that you do to have Mycelium on Arbitrum, and been one of our earlier supporters, of course. So thank you.
Congrats, guys. Excited for you.
I actually have a question. I think maybe that we can. I'm sure people would love to kind of know a little more about. So it's my understanding that Prismatic Labs was leading the effort to bring EIP 4844 into production. In what way will Arbitrum or Off-Chain Labs, of course, be able to contribute to this effort? Probably, Ed or Harry on our side. I'm not sure. Maybe Rolf, if you want to add to, I'm not sure. Who's the best answer this one?
Yeah, this is Ed. I'll jump in on this one. Right. So first, for those who aren't as familiar, EIP 4844 is a proposal in the Ethereum community that would introduce a form of data sharding. And the reason that's relevant for layer 2 is that it makes the call data that layer 2 systems rely on a lot cheaper. So it translates into more throughput and lower cost for layer 2s. But it's a functionality that will be supported by the layer 1 Ethereum chain. And this is actually a great example of why we're excited about bringing layer 2 and layer 1 together into a single team. The Prismatic team's been doing, and I'm sure they can tell you about it, has been doing really groundbreaking work on helping to incorporate these functionalities into layer 1. And we're really excited to work with them about building on top of that layer 1 support an Arbitrum testnet that can take advantage of EIP 4844, first on Ethereum testnet, and then eventually when it rolls out onto Ethereum to be ready right away to take advantage of 4844 and to drive our fees down and scalability up for our community. The Prismatic folks can say a lot more about the contributions they've made in this space on L1 and how that can work, how we can work together on this, as well as just what's the status of 4844 on L1.
Yeah, so right after the merge, the next big thing that a lot of the teams working on Ethereum are looking at is exactly this: is how do we make rollups even cheaper, right, than Nitro today, and how can we make it, even much better user experience? So, a lot of the teams are now turning their eyes towards this problem of how do we lower these costs, and this EIP kind of a project that we're all eyeing towards is going to be key for rollups. So a lot of folks from our team have been focusing on leading the kind of the R&D with the other Ethereum core protocol developers on how do we get this shipped to production? How do we get a test net up? We already have a development network where we can actually test out this this new approach to lowering fees. And some of the something that will work together with Arbitrum team is to actually ship Nitro to a DevNet or a testnet where we can start testing this out and just trying to stress test it, getting it ready for production and shipping it. So that's going to be, we believe, immediately impactful once we see some results, and are going to be working towards getting it on mainnet. So once that is out there, expect much cheaper fees for rollups, as I believe the biggest cost for rollups today is publishing call data to L1.
Yeah, it's definitely, and I think it's been sort of like high on our minds for a long time now. But I think that sort of like, especially just sort of with with the degree to which sort of we had to focus on Nitro, and obviously we had a lot of kind of core work there. We haven't been able to sort of we hadn't so far been able to sort of like jump into all of kind of the quite complex and exciting and interesting 4844 work. So I think this is a really exciting opportunity from my perspective, and something I've been looking forward to for quite a long time now to really sort of help push us to where I think something that will not just benefit Arbitrum and really not have anything specific with Arbitrum, but to benefit the entire roll-up ecosystem.
Yep, it'll get even cheaper to use Arbitrum on mainnet in the future, and imagine the really cool applications that can emerge as a result.
More degenning.
That's exactly what I was waiting to hear. Thank you, Harry. We can.
Can I get liquidated even more cheaply now?
Even quicker and at a cheaper cost. I'm gonna bring up Roger over here. Let's see if Roger has a question for us. Roger, you may speak. Just in case, I'll also have someone else up on the queue. Leveraged degen. I'm not sure if this is a good idea, but let's see what they say.
But Roger, go for it if yeah.
Oh, so sorry about that. I did not hear you as you brought me up. Um, this might be slightly off topic, and I apologize in advance if it doesn't meet the standard for the Twitter space. But I would really and truly love to hear more about what Arbitrum's outlook is for the next 5 years as far as onboarding new users as far as scalability goes. Just because I'm in the visual effects space, and I know there's a lot of people that aren't in the crypto space natively. Not myself. I'm definitely involved. I'd like to hear more about what the marketing will look like and creative direction for onboarding new community members will look like as well. Truly appreciate the time, and again, congratulations on the acquisition.
Hey, first of all, thank you for your congratulatory words. Very much appreciated. It's anyone who tells you in this space that they know what the next 5 years looks like is either trying to deceive you or deceiving themselves, right? It's a very, very fast-moving space, and we try to predict tomorrow, not 5 years. But here, let me tell you about the path or how we get there and what we think about. One big theme is getting the next billion users. You hear that a lot, and I'll tell you what it means to me. Like getting the next billion users into crypto, or what that means to me is like it's not like us getting a billion users in this Twitter space. I mean, we can barely do 500 before this thing collapses. So don't worry, we're not going to try to get a billion in here. Hunter, you're good. But what does that mean? At least what it means to me is, I'll point to a recent announcement that we did in August with Reddit. Right, Reddit launched their community points on Arbitrum, and this is tapping into a massive community. Right, Reddit has 400 million users, and obviously, they're not all Arbitrum users. We're in 2 subreddits, but it's an idea of how we can tap into existing communities and bring them to Arbitrum, bring them to Ethereum. That's very, very powerful, and that's what I think we need to work towards when we really grow the pie massively. It's not just, again, I was joking before about the Twitter space, but in all seriousness, it's not trying to get our direct reach or expand our direct reach so we reach a billion users. But I think if we tap into existing communities, and those can be social communities, we're increasingly seeing big social companies that do things that touch the blockchain in different ways. I think that's a very important direction in how we grow as an industry. And so, what do we do at Offchain Labs? How do we enable that? One is we obviously have a strong business development function, but potentially more interestingly, what do we do from a technological standpoint? I think it's the ease of onboarding that becomes critical. It's interesting. Like there are all these lists of things that need to happen before blockchain hits mainstream. And I remember back in 2018 when we were raising money for the company, we were saying scaling, scaling, scaling. And others were saying, well, I'm not sure scaling is the top of the list. Fast forward a year or two after that, it became clear that scaling was the top of the list. But, I think I'm not going to say we solved scaling because scaling is always more to solve, particularly as more users come. But we're in a pretty good place now with regards to scaling. But I would say the number 2 at the list is better user experience. And this happens, there's a lot of different ways that this plays out. It's around key custody and the like. It's around fast confirmation, something else which we solve in Arbitrum. Most users coming from Web 2 want to press a button and get a response, right? If I don't know about you, but if I press search on Google and I don't get a response in about 100 milliseconds or so, I get very frustrated and I press refresh. And that's what a lot of users are coming to. And as we move from crypto native to mainstream, we have to think about and just onboarding. How do users get ETH in their wallets? How do they get onto the chain? How do they bridge? How do they pay their transaction costs? How do they think about all these things? Are the wallets experiences, are these really targeted at users that may never have used crypto before? And I think that's critically important to solve some of these issues. And there are really great teams working, the wallet teams, other teams working to solve these issues, the exchanges, etc. But I think that becomes critically important. And one thing that we can do is also say, hey, do we have the best developer tools, right? Because I've been speaking about users, but also developers. What about developers that are coming from traditional industries, traditional development that aren't familiar with the languages we have here or the tools we have here? How do we onboard them? I think there's a lot that we can do there. So that's what I think our next 5 years looks like. It's that, but it's also continuing to scale because, I always like to say scaling is a bit of a cat and mouse game. What I mean by that is you scale and then more users come and then you need to scale again and then more users come. And every time you've increased your capacity, if you stopped, you've accomplished something. But when users typically want scaling, is they want you to continue scaling so the fees stay low even as the increased capacity gets used up. And this will continue to happen as I don't think we're anywhere near a saturation point for Ethereum. I think we're just going to continue to see more users. There are those out here that will tell you this is the end game or that's the end game. We don't make those sorts of claims here at Arbitrum. You'll notice one thing different than us and a lot of our competitors. Many of our competitors have their specific form of technology that they're embracing, like embedded in their name. We're off-chain labs. We don't have Optimistic or ZK or Stark or Snark in our name. We are very, very committed to building and developing the best technology possible and available. And we did that with Nitro, and we'll continue to do that. So I can't tell you exactly what we'll be doing in the next 5 years, but I can tell you we're committed to the goal, not a particular tool, and we'll continue to develop tools to achieve that goal. And that's very much our commitment. And with today's news, we're going to have a lot more great minds coming together to help us achieve that goal, and I'm very, very excited about that.
And Stephen always says everything so well, but I just wanted to throw in one kind of technical shout out there, and just sort of one exciting area. Just we talked about 4844, which is very exciting. On the execution layer, one of the sort of hot areas that will sort of hopefully smooth out user onboarding going forward is account abstraction. And there's a number of proposals that are very worth looking at and very worth thinking about. All of which have to do with sort of making the ability to interact with the blockchain much simpler, much easier, trying to move us past the realm of needing to click sign over and over in your wallet, needing to always have sort of certain currencies available to pay, kind of being relatively restricted. And there's a lot of cool stuff that I think a lot of teams are excited about that should really sort of expand what's possible in that regard.
Thanks for coming up, Roger. Appreciate it. Okay, Leverage Degen, you were waiting very, very patiently. Are you still there? Maybe not. Yes, no. Okay. Oh, wait. Okay. Try requesting to come up again, Leverage Degen. I think there's a little bit of a bug there. While we're waiting for Mr. Leverage to come back, Mr. Dan, how you doing? Mr. Dan, what do you got for us?
I'm sorry, my mic was not on. Hi, thank you for having me on here. I just wanted to ask a question about scaling and use cases. So when you think about scaling an order of magnitude or another one after that, what kind of use cases are you guys imagining that are not just higher volume trading?
I'll take a cut at that, but I'm curious what my friends have to say as well. I think one dimension of scaling is just providing services to more users, right? If you to get to the next order of magnitude of users, to get to 1 billion users, whatever whatever you see as the next goal, means being able to scale, because you need to be able to handle more transactions for more people, more storage, more everything. So that's one part of it. But the other is really bringing on board and into the Web3 space sets of applications that have not been that have been beyond the capacity of the technology up to now, and that includes, richer gaming experiences as one example, and but a bunch of other sort of gaming and social type of environments. Most of the things that people do on Web 2, most of the interactive spaces that they're in, are either are marginal or not really quite yet feasible to do on Web 3. And we really, would like to see a lot more of that activity move on to Web 3 over time. And so that means we need to have more capable and more flexible base level technologies in order to support all of that.
I agree with everything Ed said. One thing I'll add is that one of the nice things about being on the infrastructure level is that there are so many smart people on the application level thinking of like innovative ways to use this technology, and we don't have to guess those trends because what we have to do is actually I don't want to say simple, but relatively straightforward, at least in terms of what the goals are, right? People always want lower fees, and people always want faster confirmations, faster transactions. No one's ever said to me, "Hey, Arbitrum is too cheap. Can you just make it a little more expensive? It's really not good for my users," right? That sort of thing just doesn't happen. And that's true across the board. And the lower you can get fees and the better you can get the user experience, the more users and the more use cases you'll enable, right? And that includes its inclusivity towards applications, things like Ed said, like gaming, that are just not possible with expensive fees, but become possible when fees are lower. But it's also people and geographies. You could have the same application, like take Uniswap. But if you lower the fees, it becomes accessible to many, many more users who have less resources or are doing much smaller trades. But now that the fees to do those trades are a cent or two, become a lot more. It becomes a lot more meaningful to them. They are able to do those trades. So, and one thing which I mentioned before, and Ed was mentioning, is the ability of these Web 2 companies to come into Web 3. We don't always know exactly what they'll do and how they'll come in, and I think that's a good thing. You take Reddit, for example, which I mentioned before. This wasn't like, back in 2017, you might have had someone say, "Hey, Reddit should just take all their servers and just put it all on Ethereum." But that's not what they did, right? They took community points, they took an isolated program and put that in Ethereum, but it makes a lot of sense, right? Just throwing everything on Ethereum wouldn't have been very thoughtful. What Reddit did was said, what is the piece that actually Ethereum can help with and actually make sense, and it's additive. And I think we're going to see a lot of more of these additive applications of where Web 3 and Web 2 can complement this up. It doesn't always mean throwing out Web 2 and adding it to Web 3. It means, hey, maybe there are components where Web 2 and Web 3 can work together. Like Reddit's still Reddit, but now there are community points that users own, are self-sovereign, have a community around them. That's really cool. That's really additive. Reddit now is a better experience for these users that want to make use of these Web3 capabilities. And I think we're going to see a lot more of these where companies and Web2 companies being thoughtful about how the blockchain can supplement and add to the offerings they already have. We see it with Twitter and Instagram with their profile pictures and NFTs. And I think that's just scratching the surface of what's to come. And I'm fortunate that there are a lot more smarter people than me thinking about these things, but all they want from us is lower fees and a great user experience, and that's what we're focused on providing.
Thank you. That's great. Great answers, guys.
Thanks for coming on. I'm bringing up Leverage Degen again. I think we rugged him a little bit last time. All right, what do you got for us?
Thanks for this space. I appreciate it. Can you hear me?
You are good.
Okay. So I know this question will most probably be like postponed, but I want to ask, I'm a big Arbitrum fan. Shout out to Size Chad and Andrew Saunders, and I use it a lot. So I really want to know, are we going to get our Arbit token? I don't care about the airdrop and stuff, but are we to expect that, Arbitrum is going to have its own token in due time?
I think you're going to have to wait and see on that one. Unfortunately, I don't have any comment to share on that one, but I do appreciate the question and do appreciate your support. And thank you very much for joining us.
Okay, sir.
Please practice safety, Jenny. Thank you for coming on. All right. I'm trying to bring on people up by order because I know a lot of people are requesting now. Bringing on Kenpai Panda. Easiest way to get up on here, by the way, is to have an Arbitrum NFT as your profile picture. Free alpha.
Yeah, so my question is about account abstraction. You guys kind of touched on it, but I wanted to see specifically the EIP 4337, if you guys believe that is the way to go. And the other thing is about the security of the chain. Like some people complain about Polygon and the issue there with the multisig. How is Arbitrum approaching that? Hello?
Yeah, I'm not sure if Stephen and Harry, maybe one of you guys wants to get that. I'd answer it myself, but I'm only a community manager.
So, all right. So Harry's our account abstraction expert, but I'm not sure he heard the whole question. The question basically is what approach we see we see as attractive for account abstraction. Is it EIP 4337, if I have the number right, or something else? That's the first part.
Yeah. Sorry, I had gotten distracted into another chat for a second. I mean, I think that's certainly kind of like, I mean, there's basically and I think, it's an area that like I wish we'd been able to spend more time than we have so far on kind of, pushing the envelope there and thinking through the trade-offs that fundamentally, there's a breakdown about, a breakdown of trade-offs between sort of how big the protocol changes we need to make are, how much kind of risk we're creating with the size of those changes, how much sort of infrastructure support across the across kind of the whole stack needs to be incorporated. How powerful is it? What kind of features can we provide? It's sort of, I think that like at least so far, it seems as though the like more minimal versions of account abstraction, which could kind of be done with relatively little in the way of consensus changes and much more in terms of sort of off-chain adoption, seem pretty promising just in terms of getting something out the door, because of just how Ethereum has reached the point that pushing through significant changes to the execution model is a big deal. And for good reason, essentially, that Ethereum is really kind of getting to the point of solidifying where we're sort of, if you want to rewrite everything to do with how accounts interact, it's going to be a serious uphill battle. So I think that like, in line with the general feeling that I've had for a while, that sort of the pragmatic solutions are the ones that, have the best chance of winning out. I think that that's sort of, at least so far, kind of how we think about it, or how I think about it, at least.
And the other part of the question was about the multisig. I assume you're referring to the multisig that controls updates on the chain. And I guess we'll just say at this point to stay tuned for news about that.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks for coming up. All right. I'll bring up one more person just in case. Want to be mindful of the time here. Let me see. Bringing up here. Mihir, you have the floor.
Hello, friends. Can you hear me?
Hello. You are good.
Oh, thanks for this space. And I have been using Arbitrum since November 2021, and it's the blockchains that I most use. Even when we look for a crypto scenario, we see a lot of eyes on ZK technologies and other Ethereum layer 2s that can compete directly with Arbitrum. What are the plans to maintain relevance on a high competitive market that we see different characteristics being relevant, not just for crypto market, but for that companies that are diving into Web3 that came from Web2?
Sure. So I think the question was about maintaining relevance and within the competitive space. And, I think I'll touch on what I said before, which is, we are committed to the goal of scaling Ethereum securely, doing that without compromising security, without compromising decentralization, and while increasing user experience, right? So security and decentralization shouldn't go down when they are on Ethereum, and user experience should only become better on layer 2. And that's what we're committed to. And if you look at our team's history and our team's experience, our larger team experience today, so both our team and the Prismatic folks, I know we've been around for a long time. We've done, I personally have done early work in crypto, in cryptocurrency, cryptography, the joining of the applications of cryptography to cryptocurrency, zero knowledge proof systems. The fact of the matter is despite some marketing you might read out there today, the fact of the matter is that ZK proofs, while they've become a very long way, and I personally am very, very excited about their progress, they're not ready today to scale Ethereum. And I'll tell you a few ways. Number one is from a cost perspective, the cost of a ZK prover compared to the cost of running an optimistic rollup is going to be orders of magnitude higher. And there are those that say, no, it's not true. But those same people also, in general, haven't published their prover, haven't published benchmarks on the prover, aren't running their provers. Again, there are some fantastic teams, and I want to stress this point, some fantastic teams making really incredible progress on these questions, fast progress, and it's exciting. But I'll speak about where we are today. And today we're at the point where no ZK technology is competitive with optimistic rollup technology, both in terms of the cost, also in terms of the compatibility, and that ties directly into the user experience, right? So it should be easy for developers to build on, easier for users to use the tools that they're familiar with, and that's just a fact. There's literally nothing on mainnet. You have a lot of teams saying they're very close, but in general, there are big pieces missing in these projects, like the provers, security audits, etc. But that doesn't mean that the future will always be that way. Because here's what I can tell you for sure. Back to the point before, I have no idea what 5 years will look like from now in terms of the technology perspective of what we're doing and exactly where we are. But I can tell you this with a lot of confidence. Everything we're doing today will look very early on in 5 years. And by we there, I don't just mean we at Offchain Labs. I mean we as an industry. So pick your favorite ZK team or your favorite rollup team, doesn't matter. Everything that we're doing today will look primitive in 5 years because we're going to make a lot of advancements. And it holds, if you look back 5 years ago, that holds. And I'm sure it will hold 5 years into the future because we're only increasing the number of really, really smart people entering the space. And the pace of innovation is constantly getting faster and faster. So I'm sure that will be the case in the next 5 years. What does that mean? It means our goal should not be, hey, I have to use this particular technology. It should be, I want to develop and use the best technology to scale Ethereum. At Arbitrum, we innovated interactive fraud proofs as applied to a rollup. We were the first ones to do it. And now every optimistic rollup team is committed to the design. In Arbitrum, we designed the Arbitrum virtual machine. Then we designed Arbitrum Nitro. We retired the Arbitrum virtual machine because we said, hey, we built something better. And that will continue. We already have several works in motion, which are, how do we make this even better? And even if it means retiring some things we're doing, we're not married to the tools we're using today. Even if it means in a few years we'll say, Nitro was great, but now we have something better. That's okay, because we're not emotionally connected to the tools we're using. We're emotionally connected to the result. And that's why, even after we just shipped Nitro, indisputably today, the best technology available on a roll-up, indisputably, but we're still saying, how do we do even better? And that's the theme of today's acquisition is, how do we do even better? Well, we need more really smart people to help us do this, and that's what we got with the folks from Prismatic Labs, because we're scaling up our team. We're saying, how do we get even better? How do we build an even better user experience? So if you ask me, in 3 years from now, will Arbitrum be very different and much more improved than it is today? Absolutely. Will that include zero knowledge proofs? Maybe. If it comes to a point where those are feasible to use in production and are cost competitive with what we're doing today or what we'll build in the future, then absolutely we'd be happy to use them. Like I said before, we are off-chain labs. You don't find Optimistic or ZK or Snark or Stark in our name, because that's not what we're committed to. We're committed to scaling Ethereum. We're committed to that goal, and whether or not it includes ZK proofs in the future will yet to be told. What I can tell you is, today you have to compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges. If you want to compare where teams are today, we are far ahead in terms of our technology, and there's nothing that's competitive. And if you want to compare where we'll be in 3 or 4 or 5 years, you have to compare. You can't compare another team's narrative today to where we are. We can't compare where another team says they'll be in 5 years to where we are today, because you have to remember we're also constantly innovating. And I think it's that mindset. And to answer your question, how do we guarantee that? It's by doing exactly what we're doing today, by making sure that we're continuing to work hard and research these hard problems. We have a long horizon where we're not just thinking about how do we serve the users of tomorrow. We have teams that are thinking about, how do we build something that will make, it might take a year or two to build, but how do we increase the user experience, increase scalability for the next 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 years? And those are the projects we're thinking about. And I think the Prismatic team is going to be very, very helpful in increasing our capacity to see around those corners and think about things and think through problems that today seem intractable, but together as one team we'll be able to solve.
Oh yeah, I got it. Thanks for the complete and clear answer and for the opportunity to share my question here. And first most, I just want to say my last willing. Yee!
Thank you for
Thanks.
the small e. We appreciate it. Thank you for your questions.
Wow, that was amazing.
Love it.
Didn't expect that one. Okay, I think maybe then we can probably end off there, since we've actually kind of gone past the hour mark here. But just before we do close out, again, any kind of final thoughts? Maybe we can start off anything from like the off-chain side, at least Stephen, Ed, Harry, you want to maybe convey to the crowd before we exit out?
Thank you, everyone, thank you all for joining us. Much appreciated on our end. I hope you're able to tell that there's a lot of excitement here, and the excitement for us is that we're able to increase our pace of development and increase the quality of our development and continue to bring new features to our community, to our ecosystem. And we might have slipped a little bit of alpha here or there, but stay tuned for the next few weeks. We have a lot of exciting announcements around the Odyssey and beyond.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say both like in person on this call, and then also just like, or on this call and then also in person on the ground at DevCon, just so much appreciation for like the great vibes from the community and this ecosystem. I think that like this is something that like I've personally been excited about for a long time. So just to be able to like share that excitement is such a pleasure.
Yeah, we're just getting started, and we're really excited to have the Prismatic team joining us. We work for the long term. They work for the long term. There's amazing things ahead, and we're just going to be building them together with each other and together with our community.
Awesome, Preston, Raul, anything from your side? I'm going to go ahead and pick Raul first, by the way. Oh, never mind. Preston won. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, Raul, you go.
No, yeah. I just want to say thank you. This is great. Thank you everyone for participating. We're going to be like, there's so many awesome things to build for rollups on Ethereum, and we have no shortage of ideas. So very much looking forward to sharing this as we as we grow within Arbitrum and bringing the community just awesome tech. So thank you all for letting us be here, and it's a pleasure.
Yeah, just to echo what everyone's saying, I mean, this is just a really exciting time to be building. And there is a lot of work to do and a lot of impact we can have. And together, all of us will build a great community and further the community and help Ethereum scale. It's going to be great. Really excited for the years to come.
And remember, we are hiring engineers, products, marketing, etc. Make sure you apply if you are interested in scaling Ethereum in every which way possible. Thank you. That being said, thank you guys for joining, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.